Hello, Namaskar. This is Rakesh Venkatachalam. I just want to walk through or detail out the basics of reading an astrological birth chart. Okay, so I'll be. This is, I mean, of course, astrology is a very very complex subject, so it cannot be covered in one video. So let's start. Okay, so I will let me share my screen without much ado, and then we will go from there. You see this chart, right? This belongs to yours truly, myself. The reason I've taken this chart is because the events, life events, would be better explained. There are so many events in the life which I'm very familiar with, and rather than taking some celebrity chart, which is where half the events we don't even know whether they exist or so we cannot really relate to. Just from an astrological, from the fact that I can relate to this. So now you see this. This is, you can see, right? This is two, means this is a Taurus Lagna. Now the sun in the second house, right? And you can see the various planets as so on and so forth. If we analyze step by step, let's start with the Lagna, right? The Lagnesh is Venus in the fourth house, Digbala. Fourth house, Venus has got Digbala, means it has got highest directional strength. Venus is very strongly positioned there. However, there is an issue of Ketu being very close to it. 11 degrees, rather 32 degrees over here. You can see the degrees, right? Sorry, it is 11 degrees 32 minutes, and Venus is 9 degrees. So it's about to cross. Ketu moves in the opposite direction. From 11 degrees, it will cross Venus. So this is a problem area. The native, myself, I need to be careful of the Venus related issues in my life. Right, that is one straight observation. And in terms of Lagnesh, we're starting with the Lagna as the most important planet to see the dignity. Right, that is one. So one thing. Now let's look at the luminaries. That's the next second important factor. The luminaries are the sun and the moon. Okay. Sun is in Gemini, right? Where is Sun? Yeah, Sun is in Gemini, Punarvasu Nakshatra, third pada, right? And Navamsa also is Gemini. So which means Sun is Vargotama. It is a very strong Sun. It is in a friendly house. It is in the second house, which gives certain things. We will come to that. So now, let us look at there is another thing to look at when we are analyzing a planet. That is the Tarabala, right? Just give me a minute. One sec. So in this chart, when I go to this mode in Jagannath Hura, right, this particular mode, right, which is the transit mode, I can see the Tarabala at the birth time. So if you can see, Sun is a Paramamitra. It's a very strong. I mean, it's a beautifully positioned Sun. It is Paramamitra. Moon is Janma. Moon is neutral. Janma is a neutral kind of signification. If you see all the other planets, before I'm just jumping, going to all the Tarabalas. So this would give the typical results, right? Nidhana is a little bit of an issue area for Jupiter. It's a So it is a functional malefic in a Nidhana Tara. So then, so a functional malefic in the sixth house in a Nidhana Tara. So it's all negatives, double negatives. And Venus is also a little bit vipat. It's not exactly positive. It is a negative, slightly challenging. These three are challenging: Jupiter, Venus, and Saturn. Pratyak. But Saturn is again debilitated. Saturn is just for incidentally, the planet Saturn is a little difficult to understand sometimes. People have a lot of notions about Saturn. They're scared of Saturn. Saturn is a beautiful, beautiful Karmakaraka planet. It's in the present world where one needs to really be humble and learn and do things right. Saturn being debilitated is a good thing because it gives that humility to that person, and it gives that ability to face defeat. Saturn is the Badakesh, which goes to the 12th house of loss. So it kind of eliminates that loss in a way and reduces the Badaka effect. Okay. So I'm jumping the gun. I had to read about new luminaries, but I'm just saying how typically to read the chart, right? So there are popular misconceptions which are there about various planets. I'm trying to clear them out as well. Okay, now look at the other dignities in this Tarabala chart. These two are Rahu is Mitra, Ketu is Vipat. So now let's come back. Okay, let's go to the normal mode. Back to natal chart. Right. So how is Moon? Moon is a Janma. So Moon is in the seventh house. It's in a Kendra, which is good. Moon has to be in a Kendra. I mean, has to be in the sense it's pretty good if it is aspecting the Lagna. Moon is a very important planet. It is the mind. It's got Moon and Sun are the Pratyaksha Grahas. So considering that, Moon is in Scorpio, and there are again a whole lot of myths about Moon being debilitated. Of course, it is debilitated in Scorpio, but then now how do we see that? Now let's see a little bit further. It has got a Parivartana with Mars. Okay, now we have seen Sun and Moon. Moon is now in Anuradha Nakshatra and first Pada. Anuradha Nakshatras, basically the nakshatra lord is Saturn. Okay, even though Saturn is debilitated, we will. Does it have Nicha Banga? Yes, it does have Nicha Banga. Through which planet? Through Venus. What is the rule? Exaltation dispositor of Saturn. Saturn exalts in Libra. Exaltation dispositor of Libra is Venus. It is in Kendra to Lagna, Kendra to Moon. Saturn gets Nicha Banga through Venus. So during Venus, so when there is a Saturn coming into exaltation over here, this will get triggered. I mean, in transit, what I'm saying is in the transit, when Saturn comes to this thing, this is the Libra, right? So when transit Saturn comes to Libra, so it is ruled by Venus, right? And it will trigger, and this is the Sade Sati kind of situation, and this is the house of profession. So this is the Nicha Banga, and it is also a Kendra Kona kind of thing because it's a Lagnesh. Lagnesh is giving Nicha Banga. So it is a Nicha Banga Raja Yoga. Lagnesh is a Kendra as well as a Kona planet. By definition, that is a Nicha Banga Raja Yoga. What are the other planets? Let's look at the other planets. Mars, Mercury. Mars is debilitated, Moon is debilitated, Parivartana Yoga, Nichabanga, cancellation. What happens as a result of Mars being debilitated, Moon being debilitated? Initially, person will be very timid, shy. Due to Mars being debilitated, he will show his anger. I had anger issues. I still have some anger issues, but then I learned to control it very with nobody would even know that I'm angry. So, but in earlier stage of life, I've had anger issues, and that shows due to this Mars moon, this Mars being debilitated. So, and Mars Mercury issues some kind of breakage in education. Yes, there was some kind of issue which I had to deal with, and challenge. The initial part of my education was very challenging due to and somehow I dealt with it because it was a Saturn dasha, right? And Saturn teaches you lessons where you're forced to deal with it. And if Saturn is, by the way, Saturn being debilitated is not that bad. It teaches you lessons where you can quickly learn. Why? Because Aries is a planet of quick action. Okay, and and there is Nisha Banga as well. So whenever this Venus comes into play, you can recover from that Nietzsche situation. You will see there was a lot of Nietzsche situations. One of this so many I said about anger, about loss of education, all these issues in life where where I have seen challenging situations. I recovered from that. Why? Nietzsche Banga Raja Yoga. Nietzsche is there, but the Bhanga will happen. Nietzsche is there, temper tantrums, but then I learned to control it. I learned to channel it. Where? Using sports. For example, I was a TT and tennis player. I was a number one in school and college. I channeled all my energy, anger, my physical energy into that. And even today, I do a lot of workouts and stuff like that. So this, I channel my energy into these pursuits. What are these pursuits? Physical sports, workout, now singing, right? So these are the things. The other planet to read, we've seen the luminaries. We saw Moon, Mars, this exchange, Chandramangala Yoga. It's also known as Chandramangala Yoga. It's very prominent in my chart in the Navamsa as well. Okay, let's look at Mercury. Mercury is so. By the way, no. Let's look at Mars. Mars is in Pushya Nakshatra, and it has got an exchange. So due to the exchange, this whole situation of Nietzsche gets cancelled. We saw that. Mercury is in something called as Pushya Nakshatra. And if you look at planets, we see in Jagannath Hora, this option. Mercury is in Pushkaramsa, Pushkara Navamsa, Pushkara Bhaga, both. It is a Bhavottama planet. So this third house is pretty well positioned for me. And it activates the third house. Because Mercury is exalted as well, right? You can see in Navamsa. Saturn is in Pushkara Navamsa as well. Even though it is debilitated, that's the reason it is not giving such typical results as some people tend to predict, that you'll have suffering and all kinds of complete poverty and daridra and all that stuff. Thankfully, no. It has been I'm very thankful to God to have a fairly steady growth in my career, and things are okay. That is due to, because of the Saturn as in Pushkara Navamsa, it gives quick results. Unlike the other Saturn, which is if a Saturn was exalted, it gives very slow results, typical to a Saturn. Okay, if Saturn is debilitated in Aries, it tends to be fast. It gives quick results. You learn, of course, you fail, but then you learn quickly and then come out of it because of the Nisha Bandha. I hope I'm, articulating things to your satisfaction, right? Now let's look at Jupiter. Jupiter is a functional malefic. Okay, and the functional malefic in 6th house in Jupiter, but it is Vargotama as well, right? And it is not in a friendly Rasi, but then its dispositor is 11th to it. So there are a bunch of things you need to see. So you need to see, is it in a friendly house? No. Is its dispositor well positioned? Yes. Is its dispositor strong? Digbala. And Venus is in a little bit iffy. It is not the dispositor. If it was strong, then it will make Jupiter's position as a functional malefic, it will give more trouble, right? So it is not. So it is giving, there's a lot of double negative situation going on over here with this functional malefic Jupiter. So it is not so malefic as it can be. It's the eighth lord and 11th lord. But 11th lord coming to the eighth from itself, right? So there would be some challenges with respect to this house, with respect to friends, with respect to gains. But then it is again we'll have to see the whenever there is a Jupiter dasha, these kind of things can happen. But will the person learn? Yes, because Vargotama is the principle of quick learning the defeats, how to cope with the weakest situation in your life determines how your life will go through. Right. So the toughest situations are when your functional malefic hits you. So will the person learn? Apparently he will. Apparently I have learned. I've seen a lot of tough situations in the past couple of years. Things have been very, very tough on various fronts. And I have, and this Vargotama has helped me to learn, as I have, you would have said, seen in my post. Now, this Rahu and Ketu, right? Let's come to Rahu and Ketu. Rahu is in Aquarius in Shatabhishak Nakshatra. Okay. Rahu is in its own nakshatra. So Rahu, in a matter of a way of speaking, Rahu is extremely strong in my chart. Reason being, it is in the 10th house. It is in the 10th house. It is in the house of karma. Rahu in the 10th house of karma. It moves the opposite direction. It aspects this house. So it is Lord, basically the ninth Lord is the dispositor for Rahu. Okay, so it aspects the house it comes from. It aspects this house. It aspects the 11th house. It is in the Aquarius. It is aspecting the natural KPC 11th house. It is in its own nakshatra of Shatabhishak. It is an extremely strong Rahu. And it is in Mitra Tara. This is how you analyze. There are multiple things to see. Okay, that's why astrology is not kind of a piece of cake. There's so many things to analyze when we see that. There is Shad Bala, etc. We will come to that. So you see, why contradictions can come. Why we need to know the exceptions. I'll give an example. This Mars is debilitated. Immediately, if you go and see, is Mars weak? No, it is one of the strongest planets in my chart. 14.9. Mars is debilitated. Okay. Now, percentage strength, Saturn is like this. Okay, we'll see, because Ashtaka Varga Bala, there's another way to see, but Saturn has got 4 points. Even though Saturn is 82, it has got 4 points. We need to see various things, no? You cannot just see one thing and say it has got 82, so bad. Saturn is bad. It has got Nicha Banga, so it's in the 12th house. Saturn is an exception where that rule where Karako Bhavo Nashya does not work. It is a Karaka. 12th house is the Bhava Karaka is Saturn itself. But Saturn being in 12th house, it will not give that Karaka Bhava Nashya. It is an exception. This is one of the great exceptions of Parashara. Right? For Taurus Lagna, Saturn in the 12th house is a fortunate thing. That is why, due to that has been mentioned in the scriptures. You have Saturn getting 4 points. Not bad for a Saturn. Okay, now look at other aspects. Okay. So we've gone through every planet, right? And every house almost, right? So this is a quick reading of the chart to understand what kind of, see, if the dispositors are not too well to each other, that means planetary support is there for this person, the native, right? Lagna is fourth from itself, Venus 11th from itself, Jupiter 11th from itself, Mars is in trines, there is a parivartana, Mercury again trines. This one is in third. This is very strongly positioned anyways. So then generally there is a planetary support due to which person, even though he is seeing some disasters in life due to various these Venus, Ketu, this Mars, etc., person will sail through those difficulties. That's the way to read this chart in a very quick way. So we'll go through some more details, how to make predictions, etc., and then sometime later. I hope I was able to give you a bird's eye view on how to read a chart, and I've covered a few pointers here and there. Yeah, thank you so much. Hope you enjoyed the video. Thank you. Bye bye.